Boom, hello, and welcome to the Protector Nation podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to making the world a better place, making the world a safer place by making good people dangerous. In this podcast, we're going to study and understand what it takes to protect your family, to protect your loved ones, because we all know that you have a few basic needs, food, water, and shelter, but you also have the need to protect those things in a world and society where evil runs rampant and is sometimes left unchecked. Learning how to protect yourselves and your loved ones is becoming more and more important. And so we strive to raise the level of accountability to those who would do evil on this planet by making sure that the sheep, that the flock, is more well-versed in protecting themselves and their loved ones. If that sounds interesting to you, then sit back and enjoy the show out. Boom! What's up, you guys? Byron Rodgers here for another episode of the Protector Podcast. I've got an awesome guest with me today, Fabio Spinella. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And Byron. He's got a pretty cool company. I heard about it and I was instantly hooked, instantly interested, called My Own Defender. And I will get into it, but I mean, what you guys are doing is, it's just in a nutshell. What do you guys just kick it to them real quick in a nutshell. What do you guys do, man?
We're just equipping people, usually everyday people, busy people, with some skills and tools necessary to defend themselves, protect their loved ones, survive trauma, that kind of thing. So we're really focused on people that don't have a whole lot of experience or a lot of training and all sorts of different things, but life skills that help you stay dangerous to bad people.
Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. No, and you know, our slogan with the, I mean, I use a few of them, but you know, we want to help good people become more dangerous, you know? So I love that.
Yeah.
The mentality, you know, that's good stuff. Be willing, capable, and prepared. And so, yeah, man, when did you tell me? I think someone else walked by and said something, or we were talking about Tactical Hive and Miles.
Yeah. Miles. Yeah.
Came up, man. And they're awesome. They're good shop. You guys are looking for a place to learn more about tactical things. Go to Tactical Hive. It's like free information.
Yeah.
Some amounts of it.
Yeah. And great people.
Yeah. And really good people. Honestly, Miles has been so helpful to me over the years. So yeah, man. So I heard about this mission that he's on, and I was just like, we got to bring this to everyone and really just dig into kind of the basics and what you guys offer. But you know, where someone who's like, okay, I'm feeling unsafe. Where do I start? You know,
that's darn straight.
Yeah. So it's an honor to have you, but
my pleasure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So who are you at your core, brother? That's my first question I like to dig into.
I'm a protector at heart. I think I found that out later in life. I've always been sensitive to people that can't help themselves, defend themselves, or can't, fend for themselves. You know, the least of these as we grow up in that. But about 9 or 10 years ago, met somebody awesome. Got married about 8 years ago. Okay. And I had a couple of girls pretty quick thereafter. I have a couple of baby girls. They're 5 and 6 now. And so right around that time, that's when life changed pretty good. And I was like, my goodness, I have to go after these things that I'm pretty good at, and I'm going to get really good at those because I do not want to be the father that on that day, if that day ever comes, will look at like helpless girls going, Dad, help me. And I have no tools. It will not be me. I will be the nicest guy in the room. I will also be the most violent guy in the room if that's what's required for me to go home with my girls today. So that's kind of my mindset. That's kind of where everything shifted at that point. I was like, oh, well, I already have these things, but I'm going to go after them hard. And I'm sure we'll talk through the podcast on how we hit those things hard. But that's who I am. I mean, I have a heart for people that are overlooked or people that are abused. I mean, it's probably a whole other podcast, but anti-human trafficking is like something that breaks my heart. Like the human trafficking aspect breaks my heart. And I've been digging into some of that lately in the last few months and seeing how I can get helping people and stuff. So
yeah, man.
Anyway.
No, that's huge. I'm very happy to hear that, man.
Yeah.
We can talk offline a little bit more about some people I think you should connect with if you're interested in that stuff, man, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. That whole analogy about the daughters and, you know, not being helpless when that day comes. Oh my goodness, it's so effective. So,
yeah.
It's absolutely unacceptable, man. I couldn't agree more. And for me, it's a huge driving factor as well, man. It's just like, man, I've got this little vulnerability walking around outside of me.
Yeah.
And, no one's hunting us, but we go to work.
That's right.
We got to make it out of the crew, man. I think that's awesome. And what you do is make security assets out of everyone, which is the game. Yeah. So how did you get into what you're doing, brother?
It really started like with friends asking questions. I've always been training, doing something. I've been shooting for a long time, and I've been on the mat for some time. And I think people see that and they go, I want that confidence that I can stay able and willing to do something if something happens. And that confidence is what people I feel like, even especially today with all the stuff that you're seeing on social media and the news and stuff, they're yearning for a little bit of confidence. Everybody knows, anybody's susceptible to problems, but you have some tools, you have some things that give you the confidence, man, I'll be okay. I'll be able to take a step. I'll be able to do something instead of just like sitting there gripped with fear. These days, there's a bunch of people just sitting at home going, what would I do if that was me in that video that I just watched? And, in the middle of a mob or like in a broken into like a home or something, or pulled out of my car, you're watching these videos and they feel like, what could I do and whatever. So I think people started asking like, hey, Fabio, like you seem pretty composed and confident on this stuff. My answer is always like, man, I'm a nobody. I'm just a civilian dude that just wants to be a little bit more dangerous and a little bit better than I was yesterday. That's it. But I do have the confidence of, man, like if it comes to shove, I will do something. I will not sit there fearful and like helpless. That is not me. And so when I figured that a lot of people were asking the same questions and wanting a little bit of that confidence that you can be able to do something, I was like, man, I've got to help others. I'm tired of watching fearful people around me. And so I started with friends, and then it just kind of expanded word of mouth. And before I knew it, there was like just people just bombarding me with questions and how do I get training and what do I do and where do I go? And so my own Defender just was like the obvious next step, because help may be on the way at some point. Maybe. but until then, I am it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes?
It's an eternity. It's an eternity. Yeah. A minute can be an eternity. 30 seconds can be an eternity.
For sure. Yeah. So what I do with these people is I just go, okay, cool. Do something right now. Okay. And maybe a little bit later, we'll talk about some more specifics, but what you do in the first 5 or 10 seconds, it's like, that could be massively discouraging to an attacker. Massively. So you don't have to go pound for pound with somebody that's bigger than you or stronger than you or faster than you or got the drop on you, ambushed you, whatever. It doesn't have to be all that clean and fair. And your stance and this is not a sparring match. I'm not trying to get points. This is not sport. Right. So what you do, it can massively deter or discourage somebody. And I talk about deterring and discouraging all the time. I'll probably say 20 times before we're done with the call today.
Nice. No, I love it.
So that's how I got started.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It was just an organic kind of happening, that came up out of the world.
Yeah.
It's the best, man. And I think it's also just organic to our world. In the private security world, I'm seeing, much more appreciation for the private security professional and for the private security professional, so it's definitely something people are becoming more and more aware of. And then in my training company, the same type of thing, people are spending all this money on hardware, buying guns and stuff, but then I'm like, okay, like what do I do? And that's a smart person if they do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I always tell them, man, you can get
at least asking questions.
Yeah, man. Like all the guns go boom nowadays. Like the technology, but you have a lethal weapon on you and you get into a violent encounter. that's now a life-threatening altercation.
100%. Yeah.
Who knows what the other person brought to the game, so yeah, I'm really glad. And I think that I'm very happy actually, not to get too Jordan Peterson-y, but out of chaos comes higher order, man. And I think that this fear that's permeating our culture right now is bringing about higher order when it comes to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Personal protection is one of them,
Mm-hmm. 100%. 100%. We agree on so much.
No, we really do, man. Like when we were talking, I was like, when you don't want to be like, yeah, I think the same thing too many times, because
you're like being careful.
Yeah. I was like, no, I completely agree with everything this guy's saying.
Well, here I am on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, man, I agree with you, right? Everybody's gonna say it because it's your podcast, but no, like it's legit. It's legit information.
Protection is one of our basic needs, man. Without that, the food, water, and shelter is just someone else's,
Yup.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, man, good stuff. So, tactical background, you kind of touched on it a little bit. What kind of thing you trained, or where does your...
I am 100% civilian. My dad was in the army in Italy. I was born and raised in Italy, actually. I was 14 when we moved. So I've been my adult life here in the States, but my preteens years were in Italy. So I had some of that background growing up with somebody that was, protecting, in that kind of realm. But it was always like, it's a different life over there. It's like, you will not do that. You will not be a part of this, blah, 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 growing up. So it was almost like it was in me, but you can't do this. All right, cool. So I grew up here thinking, okay, I'll never do anything like that. I'm not going to do, kind of wanted to, but I'm not going to do law enforcement. I'm not going to do the army. I'm not going to do none of that stuff. Okay, cool. And then, like I said, at some point that stuff just came out. I was like, no, I'm doing it anyway, but
yeah, it's in me.
Yeah. And it breaks my heart to watch people, get beat. I mean, you know how it is in our industry. We watch all these like people getting, as soon as you're in this industry, your inbox blows up the second a violent encounter happens and it's recorded on video, right? Like I'll get 20 of the same in a minute. It's like this woman that got beat up, or this man that got jumped by a bunch of cowards, or the elderly person that gets pushed down. And I can't watch any more of those. So I feel like I use what I can to empower people to, again, go back to like deterring and discouraging, opponents or whatever. So from the tactical standpoint, like all of my tactics all come from classes I take. So it's unreal. Like I did the math. I probably take around 300 to 500 hours worth of classes in a year between like shooting classes and like my time on the mat with instructors, not time I'm teaching, because I also do some of the teaching on the mat. And like even this week, I am doing like a mat Pranka class, which is incredible. It's like a carbine pistol class. So I'll be on the range for 20 hours this week. It's just what I do all the time. And I get to study with like high level dudes,
Yeah, man. I got to tag along. Yeah, let me know what's out there, what's going down, man. Shoot.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it took me a minute to kind of get into some of these classes that are like only for X, Y, and Z, because I'm just a civilian, right? I go back to like, but then people that get to know me or get to see me do what I do, and they go, oh, yeah, you can go.
Yeah, no, and that was why I kind of smiled when I asked this question, because I was like, we were at a shooting competition like 2 minutes ago, and I was like, I already seen this guy work. I know. He's got the goods.
Yeah.
He definitely has advertised. And the thing about the civilians, because in my industry, it's law enforcement, military, tough guys, cool guys, spy rig, zip line, has special guys. But at the end of the day, the civilians are dangerous because they're like, hey, man, like all I got is what I'm learning right now. And then they keep learning, and then they're really capable. The most dangerous guys I know, a few of them, are just straight civilians, you know what I'm saying? And
it's unassuming, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they just kept at it and never rest on their laurels. And the next thing you know, it's like a masterclass shooter, black belt, and 5 different black belts. Like whatever, dude. Like I still was a Marine, but I'm not gonna fight you,
It's smart. I don't discount anybody. You don't know. You don't know who you're talking to. I don't care how big or how small they are.
I think you are.
It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I know some people rely on size and things. You know, people come to the dojo. I help teach self-defense in it's a Krav Maga dojo. That's where I got my black belt. But most of my classes are not the standard run-of-the-mill regular classes. You go to a dojo and you're trying to pick what kind of martial art you're going to learn, and then you end up learning like kickboxing drills for like cardio. And it's like, okay, there's a place for that in your like fitness regiment, whatever, but that's not self-defense. When I'm talking in class, it's like, okay, this is how you make somebody not work anymore. Like, this is how you injure somebody. This isn't a tit for tat. Like, oh, you slap me, I'll slap you. You brought violence where violence was not welcome. And now you have a problem bigger than you thought. And it's not about size. It's not about, speed. It's not about that stuff. It's like, man, if you know what you're doing, don't waste your energy, focus your energy in a very specific place. And they're going to have a really bad day. So from a tactical standpoint, I mean, it's just classes and hours on the mat and making a lot of mistakes. And I've also seen, I've gotten to train with like some dudes that have done some incredibly cool things for our country and do some incredibly cool things every day and are good at their craft, and it's like, I get to pick their brain. So I feel very privileged to be in those classes. I mean, part of the reason I started my own Defender was because a regular average Joe doesn't have hundreds of hours in a year to go study and pick everybody's brain and figure out who's a good teacher and who's a bad teacher. And the dude that's teaching like weird ancient handgun technique, it's like, it's like 2021. There's like updated stuff, and there are world champions that are willing to come to town and teach you how to shoot really great. And the whole like competition shooting gets you killed in the street. That I can't even handle that anymore. So, so that's where I'm at. I'm just,
I don't want to go to competitions. And
because then I'll get killed at the competition.
Exactly. And then my once upon a time won't hold up. No, man, that's awesome. I agree with everything you said. One of the things I always say is anyone can kill you. Anybody.
That's it.
Like, you don't know what code they work by. You don't know what anything. So lead with respect, because anybody can kill you. And then, patron saint of the Marine Corps, General Mattis, be calm, be cool, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Everyone in the room.
Man. Yeah. You just don't know, that's good stuff,
you
man.
Don't know their intent. You don't know their commitment. I mean, who knows? There's just too much unknown. So
100%, man. No, I love it. So how do you guys equip busy people? So how does this look? It sounds like what you do is you take the body of knowledge that you're constantly taking in and you like distill it down to something that,
You're nailing it exactly on the head. So I have all of these years worth of information. And what I try to do is, let's say I take from 10 people on X skill or whatever that is. If 9 people are saying the same thing, that's probably an important thing to teach somebody. It's like, oh man, like 9 out of these 10 high level dudes are saying the same thing. That's something that I need to keep. If like one guy is just a complete, just so good at X, Y, and Z, but he's the only one that does it that way, it could be the shape of his body. It could be the size of his hands. It could be the strength in his up.
The way his brain works. Like,
you're like an anomaly. Like I'm glad that you're good at that, but I can't teach an average Joe that. But when 9 out of 10 world-class shooters tell me, hey man, like this is about how you grip the gun. Cool. That's how we grip the gun. I don't need to go back to and like second guess it. I'm like, yeah, man, that's how I do it too. And all these phenomenal shooters do it that way. Yeah, I can probably bring that to somebody, So I like you said, I kind of distill the information. I kind of boil it down and go, okay, there's a lot of information. What does an average Joe need? And it's not just handgun stuff, sometimes it's like survival stuff. Sometimes it's like stop the bleed stuff, so we do all that in classes. The program that I am super excited about is the 6-month complete handgun program that I launched a little bit over a year ago. Okay. So we're in the middle of the second cohort, and the third cohort starts this summer. So every 6 months I take 12 people. I go, that's it. You're with me,
man.
Say what?
I love that you use cohorts, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm
like, you're with me.
Yeah, I'm structuring something off that whole kind of Roman Centurion cohort. It's coming. It's coming. I love it.
Well, so because in the past I used to do all these one-off classes, and people would come with whatever skill they have, and they make them, I help them get better, and that's cool. I feel good about that. But whether it was on the mat or up the hill at a range, they'd leave at the end of the day, and I almost like too confident because I helped them get better. But I'm like, you don't know, you don't even know yet. Like, it's not enough. I felt like it was unsafe to let them go into the world.
Like kids with dynamite.
Yeah. So I'm like, I have to do something else. I need them to stay with me for a long enough period of time where I can like check on them, just not just technique wise, but like mindset and just like prepared to do whatever it is that you have to do in a certain way. And also when not to do it, because you're not Rambo. You know what I mean? So I keep them for 6 months, and these people stay with me, and we do a live fire thing every month. We do so we do like a fundamental thing. Of course, we do like home defense considerations. We do CCW considerations for the people that are carry. We do like a tactical class, and I say very loosely. I always tell them like, this is not a tactics class, but I need you to be able to shoot from like different positions and behind barricades and like vehicle considerations and stuff like that. If you carry, you might need to use your vehicle in certain ways, or you just might need to use the vehicle. Yeah. So we talk about that. And then we go into like competition shooting and just straight up advanced handgun handling. And so it's a weird concept because what is advanced, right? There's no standards on this stuff. So I pretty much just make them go, okay, cool. You have a course of fire. You're under time pressure. I'm going to induce every malfunction that exists on the handgun in this course of fire. So they have like social pressure, time pressure, and by the 6th month, they're able to do all this stuff while moving. Like, I'm like, okay, you got to go do all this. Do you understand the course of fire? Yes. And then I mess with their gun and then put all sorts of junk in there. And every few rounds, they're just, they have catastrophes happening. Type 1s, type 2s, type 3s, all the things, and, reloads and all the things. And meanwhile, trying to score well, trying to discriminate targets. That's a friendly, that's not whatever. So you're having to make all these decisions. And I would never, ever, ever have before felt confident sending somebody to do something like that as just a regular average Joe.
Right.
But I feel like at the end of the 6 months, man, I put them through some stuff that they're just like confident, they're calm, they're collected, they're moving quickly. They're handling their firearms super safely. And so I feel like that's why I'm super proud of that program, because it's really working. Like people that leave there, they're accidentally little badasses, They do 24 weeks of assigned dry fire practice. Like I give them drills every week of the program. In the program, I also do like an in-home consultation for their like home defense plan. So if they want me at their house, we just walk around the perimeter. We look at lighting, we look at cameras, we look at whatever alarm system you have. What do your kids do, during this thing? Where are your kids at night? Whatever, all this stuff. We teach them like a stop the bleed class. So like that program, I feel like it's delivering on the mission statement of equipping people on all those things. So if you're, asking how do I affect people, I think that's the way. Although I do the one-offs still, like just less of them,
Yeah. That's just the wide funnel. That's taste the magic.
Yeah. Just come see me. And honestly, if you hate me as a teacher, like you don't want to come to my class. You don't want to spend 6 months with me.
Yeah.
So, if you want to come to a class and check it out, yeah, great. And then if we interact well, you like what I'm saying or how I'm saying it,
right?
Then there's more to this, and it's been really good. And I keep it small so that everybody gets to like dig in and ask like real questions. And I am like on them, like, what are you doing this week? How's your dry fire going? Great. What did you do for fitness this week? Great.
That's good, man. That's
did
so
you drive
good.
to get donuts? Don't drive to get donuts.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I think that approach is so much better. There's nothing we learn it with one exposure. I even when we do our trainings with the Protector Symposium, I always tell everyone, like, look,
this is just the beginning. Like, we're exposing you to instructors and to training. But the people that you may encounter out there, I say protection is more than just a job. It requires a lifestyle, because they're out there right now getting jumped into gangs, like getting their stripes, getting their licks, fighting, doing dirty deeds for cheap. Like, they're out there right now being wolves all the time. Tonight, late tonight, you'll be up doing it, and you're going to be working, minding your business, being normal. And then you're going to be in 7-Eleven, and then you're going to have to whip it on with somebody who's been living in the darkness the entire time, and you are like worried about, how they messed up your drink at Starbucks 10 minutes ago. Now you got to be a beast on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I love that 6-month approach, because it sounds like it's actually really gets the habits inside them so that they can have a baseline of performance that they can actually rely on, because that's how they're going to perform.
And it's all like sequential. Like, so I have this background in teaching. I taught high school and college for almost 10 years. I was a music director. Like, I was a music guy. I'm actually a trumpet player, professional trumpet player still. Really? When the world's not over, I play Disney, I play like pop artists, I play all the time. So I have this background in education. And when I started to couple, like, I understand how people learn, I coupled that with the information that I have on this protection stuff. My dude, I know how to structure information. It's sequential. It builds on the previous knowledge, all this stuff. So the 6-month thing made sense, because when I was really digging in years back on this stuff, you're signing up for like an intermediate class. What does that mean? Right. I don't know. Like, what's an advanced class? What's a beginner's class? So I'll go to anybody's fundamental class, because if they got a good way to explain something, I want to know. So I was like, instead of leaving it so ambiguous, let me just do a sequential. You learn this month, next month, we're going to add this, or next month, we're going to add that, and continue to get better, get more dangerous in a safe way,
Yeah, man. And what topics you really hit when you're trying to build someone into a protector? What subjects do you make sure, and what are the bedrock subjects,
Yeah. So the program is mostly firearms based, right? So we don't do a ton of like empty hand stuff, but we absolutely hit some empty hand stuff. We talk mindset almost every class. What are you willing and capable of doing? Because just having a gun and knowing that you can shoot a piece of paper and be like a cardboard assassin, like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's a skill, and I'm glad you have that skill. Right. But what can you do when there is pressure involved? And we try to simulate some pressure, whether it's like people watching you, maybe you're like trying to win something, or maybe there's time pressure and you're going to be compared to your peers or to yourself. So I introduce that kind of pressure and stuff, because what you can do under pressure and what you think you can do are two very different things. People, seasoned shooters, have come to the program thinking they would like breeze through the first few classes. And like after class 1, they're just like, like, oh, I didn't know any of that or whatever. So anyway, the topics go from like, hey, stance doesn't matter in shooting. And usually immediately, as soon as I say that, that's the first fundamental. It's like, let's talk fundamentals. Okay, stance doesn't matter. Okay, we talked about it. Stance is done. And then they're like, what? That's all I know. It's like, I found a stand right, the gun, the recoil, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay. And, from like concepts like that, it's like, man, like the only thing that really matters in shooting is probably your trigger finger. So we talk about that. I mean, there's more to it. There's a bigger story there, but really, when I teach this stuff, it's like, man, it's like 90% of it is your trigger press, and you can't do that right. Who cares what you're doing? Right. I don't care if your sights are perfect. I mean, that doesn't mean a squat. I don't care if your grip. So like, we'll go as simple as that at the beginning to as, hey man, like you're literally going to run from here to there and try to get some stuff on that target there. And then you have to discriminate, because that one's a friendly and that one's not. Like, how do you make decisions while you're under pressure? Because that's going to be a very important thing to do when it's not paper.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
and when the paper you thought was a problem and it's not a problem, and you looked up around the barrier and it's like, oh, that's not a problem, and I just put 2 holes in it. You know what I mean? Make those mistakes here, so that you don't have to make those mistakes when it really, really matters. So the concepts that we tried to talk about, it's not, I mean, mostly my classes are performance based because I'm a performance guy, but we talk about some tactical things, some considerations about, do you ever unlock your bedside safe and pointed at the door, like, do you dry practice that? And they go, huh? And I'm like, yeah. How long does it take you? Like the moment you notice there's a problem in the house and now it's at your door. First of all, do you lock your door at night? Which another thing is, gives you a couple more seconds. But anyway, so there's a problem at your door. How quick can you go from your bedside safe to presenting to the door? And, just put a single like dry press in there. Like how long do you know? And I would tell you 95+% of the people go, I've never even like tried to open my safe under time pressure.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how about we make that a regular? It's like, I know, like for me, I know my metrics. I know in my house, if the problem made it to my door, which is a real problem, that means a lot of other things have failed, right?
Yeah.
I've got exactly about, it's like 4.5, 5 seconds from safe to front door. And I can do a lot of work. Once we get to that 5 seconds, that's good metrics to know. It's like, hey, can I draw on this or is it too late? Or whatever. So we talk about specific considerations. It's not just, oh, here's a table. This is like your bench at home. It's like, you don't ever get it from a bench at home. You probably get it from a safe at home or from your person you're carrying it on you, Yeah. So we practice that specific in my class. And part of their dry fire program is, okay, cool, man, lay down in your bed and figure out how quick can you unlock your bedside safe. And for some people, it's biometric. Yeah, and they're like a little nervous and everything is shaking, whatever. Or like they don't even know like where their keys are. And I'm like, Dude, you don't have a gun then. You don't have that force multiplier. You thought you did, but it takes you 16 minutes to open it. It's not gonna help.
Yeah. No, that's huge, man. No, I like that. It's real world, dude. That's what's up. What kind of things do you hear out there or see that a lot of people are doing wrong? Like even when you do your consultations or when you're talking with civilians, what kind of stuff do you see that they're doing wrong?
So like out in the like open world, like, when people are out and about and stuff, I mean, it's your phone. That's these days. That's
That's what it is. Even for the best of us, sometimes it's the phone,
and for some of us, it's like, that's where business is, that's how we keep in touch and network and stuff. I get it. But if you want to isolate a major problem for 2021 people out in public, it's your phone, man. Like, especially like coming in out of your car, going into your house, getting out of your house, coming out of the store, like
transitional spaces.
I'm like, exactly when people know that you're not going to be paying attention, that's exactly where the problems are happening. The things you take for granted, like I just pulled into my driveway and I'm going to get my groceries or looking at my phone or whatever and go in the house because I'm home and I'm safe. That's probably the place where you want to be most careful, or like getting out of your car to like pump gas. It's like, man, put your phone down and look around before you get out of the car for a second, like, that kind of stuff. So I think that's where people are like really making mistakes. And then the other thing is like, man, if it doesn't look right, smell right, sound right, feel right, you should not be there. I don't care if it's like your grandma's 60th birthday, man. It's like you pull up and there's some weird music that never, like there's some weird family from I don't know where. Yeah. And it smells like somebody's doing something that probably shouldn't be doing. Like, just, you don't need to be there with your kids. Just go somewhere else. I mean, maybe a bad example that it's your 60th, your grandma's 60th birthday, but you know what I mean? Like you pull up to a party and it's like, that ain't right. Doesn't smell right.
Yeah.
I'm out. So, because those are usually the places where you're going to have like problems created, problems or things become a problem because of it doesn't smell right, sound right, all that stuff. Right. So avoid that altogether and one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So yeah, I think that's where people are making their biggest mistakes. And then it's for like home defense stuff. For me, I think most people don't have enough of deterrence on the outside to make their houses less likely to be affected. So one of the first things I look at when I do a drive up to somebody's house, I want to do a consultation with, it's like, man, I just don't want your house to be the weakest link on the street. Just if I'm driving by, I want your house to like light up, like the eyes of the house just open the second you pulled up. It's like, bling, okay. Lights come on, the cameras look like are obvious.
The dogs in the window.
Exactly.
Right, barking
like
already.
Floodlights on every side are like super bright, where it's almost like uncomfortable to even like just walk in front of your house.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if that's your house, somebody's going to go pick something else. I mean, unless you have something very specific that they want, and that's a different problem. Like, maybe you're wealthy and people know it, or maybe you keep showing off all the goodies in your garage, or maybe, unfortunately, like in today's world, you have a teenage daughter. Like those are problems that you can't really deter in that way. But like, if your house looks like it's not the weakest on the street, you're doing pretty good. You probably never even have to get to force multipliers. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Yeah. So that's what people can do better immediately. It's like, man, just tons of lights around the house, obvious cameras. I don't hide them. People go, oh, should I hide them so people don't see the camera? I'm like, why? Let people know that they're on camera, man. Like, yeah. Oh, but then they can see and they can touch. I'm like, man, if they're going over there touching your cameras, like,
that's what okay.
Yeah. That's what it's there for. Like, now we saw somebody touch your camera. So either you're home and you get an alert, or you're away, you get an alert, or on video, somebody touch your camera. Okay, something's happening sooner than later here. Right. So people get stuck on trying to be all stealth. And it's like, no, man, this is the time for you to be overt. Like, right. I got lights, I got cameras, I can see you, man. Like, don't hide in my bushes. I have no bushes in my front, like that. I've had some clients just like, I'm like, man, just get rid of that. Like, you can't see what's back there. Like, you plant some like short plants right there.
Yeah, man. Like don't have blind spots in your environment. When you're very vulnerable. It's that's a good one. No, that's awesome, man. I dig all that stuff, and I hope people listening are taking notes, because it's the little things that people don't think are a big deal. They just make them riper targets, and if you don't know how to think like the wolf, then you won't see these things, and then
can be that.
Yeah, 100%. How long, with all the different suggestions you make, can people, just so they have an idea, like, can people really get their house pretty set up? Is it like a huge undertaking?
No. As far as like fortifying your home, so it's like a little bit safer or whatever, it's probably a little bit of an expense. I mean, you can do all of the things I just said in one day. Like, you can install some cheap floodlights from like some lame Harbor Freight. I don't care where you get them, cheap. Yeah. Just put them in a couple of different places around the perimeter, so that anybody walks around your house, the house lights up. It's like the eyes of that house open up, and it's like the house is saying, "I see you, man." Yeah. Then you get like a simple, I don't know, I don't endorse any company, but like a ring system, copes, I don't care what you get, something that you can arm from your phone, so you're not lazy and don't arm your freaking alarm. Right. The statistics on that are like disgusting, of people that have an alarm that don't arm it, because the little keypad is like by their door and they're like already in bed, so they just don't put it on. It's like, just get one that you're comfortable enough that you can just like set it up with your phone, just be done, Right. Or they leave the house and they have no access to it, so the house is just not armed, and it's just how it is, So get something simple like that. I mean, I'm guessing $500 to $600 and 4 hours of your time, and now you've got a perimeter that makes your house not the weakest spot, and
weakest link.
You're in a much better place.
Yes.
Literally, like 4 hours of your time and $600 can go a long way. And then like monitoring systems, like people that monitor these alarm systems are like, it's so cheap anymore. It's like $10 a month or whatever it is. Like, is it not worth it to you to just have somebody that is going to notice if the alarm's going off, if you're out of town, or if you're traveling, your family's home and you can't do something about it? They have the little panic button, like my wife, and they know where that stuff is, Yeah. Or she's a protector too. I mean, I train her legit, so she's a good shot. She knows what's up. But still, I'm like, here's your panic button, because you're not gonna have me to call, because we have a house plan when we're both here, what to do and who does what. But if you're by yourself, you don't have time to be on the phone. Press the darn button. Start there. Get the force multiplier. Do the kid thing that we know how to do. You know where to go. All the stuff. But having a system like that, for one, and I tell my clients the same thing, if you don't have a step to take, you're going to be gripped with fear. Oh. What good comes of that? Yeah. At least you have something. I did something that maybe helps me. Okay, cool. Right. And then do the second thing, whatever the second thing, and then do the third thing and do the fourth thing. I always tell them, like, look, if you have some tools, you may not be able to like fix the world and save the day and all that stuff. You're not going to be superhero Rambo guy, but you won't be sitting there completely frozen, having the worst day of your life and not being able to help anybody or yourself. You're like, man, I pressed the button for the alarm. Okay, so they know I'm in trouble. I got my force multiplier. I got my kids. We're barricaded in this room. I've barked out some commands. Like, you're doing some stuff that gives you not just hope, but also like just I have some confidence that helps on the way, and I'm helping myself instead of just like I'm just gonna sit here and act like this is not happening, because that's what people do. That normalcy bias, like, oh, this can't be happening to me. We live in a nice neighborhood. It's like, no, bro, that's not how it works.
And literally, the time you have to save your own life is leaving while you're like, no, this isn't happening. Why is that happening? Why is this person trying to come in? I can't believe this is happening. Like, seconds are passing, and that's cognitive
for sure,
making it your case helpless almost. That's huge. Video out of some of the shootings that have happened where active shooters are just walking through environments and people are just laying on the ground, just getting shot because they just don't have any software for how to deal with this situation. There's just nothing in there.
For sure.
And that stuff happens, man, when you get confronted. That's why I post the stuff I post the way I post it. And I drop those real world violent situations.
Yeah, those have been great, by the way. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
I don't know if it was you that posted this, but there was a dude coming down. There was like a video camera on a bus, and this dude was coming. I've used it in class before, but this dude comes down the bus and he's like pointing a gun in everybody's face and taking their stuff. Right? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. He's literally coming down the bus.
Like in Mexico, or
I don't know, but he's pointing the gun, taking their phone and their wallet, gun, phone, wallet, and he's just so full, like, because he's going from person to person. Nobody's saying anything.
Yeah,
nobody's reacting. And nobody is noticing that this dude is just robbing it. Everybody's just stuck on their phone like this.
Yeah. Not even.
And nobody's noticing. I'm just like, okay, remember when I was like, phone is the problem? Okay, that's the problem, because you would have noticed 10 people just got robbed. 100%. So he finally gets to this dude, and he puts a gun in his. And this dude had the wherewithal to like go, no, man, we're not doing this. And he like swats the gun, right? I'm like, okay, so finally I'm watching this video going, all right, there's hope. Like, somebody has been doing some stuff to be a little bit more dangerous to bad people. And then as he's stuffing the gun, which is like, okay, good. I like that. It's offline. It's not pointing at anybody. You're fighting this dude. Instead of throwing the phone on the ground, he's like searching for his pocket on his coat so he doesn't crack the phone.
This guy was dedicated to his phone. You try to get that guy's watch or his wallet, he probably would have given it to you.
No, it's like my phone. No, bro, I got my contacts in there. So anyway, so they're wrestling to the ground, and I'm just watching this going, I can't watch any more of these. And the people around them, like, if they were also somewhat equipped, the second you see an opportunity, somebody's doing something about it, man, you gotta swallow this guy up. Can you imagine you and me on that bus behind this guy?
It would have been lights out.
Good night. Just go sleep. Just go sleep. Bro,
just lay down.
But I just want to equip more people to not only for themselves, but I mean, if one of my trained people is on a situation like that, they're just not going to sit there and act like nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what we talk about in classes. Like, man, of course you have to like deal with your like morality and when can you get involved or not get involved, all that stuff. I'm into that. And you should make those decisions well ahead of time. But man, I promise you, you're in a bus. It's a closed environment. The dude's got a gun. You are involved. You can't leave.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. And so now what can you do? And this is not, I'll just slap him. No, man. Like, what a waste. You're going to do something to incapacitate somebody, at least for a while.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So anyway, so that's kind of stuff we talk about. It's like, don't be a sheep, like, whatever. Then get out of your phone.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. I couldn't agree more. It's an interesting thing. The amount of videos I get sent with people just fighting on their own to their death, people complying and still getting killed. Like, and for me, it's just like, I want
it's hard
to realize that this type of evil exists. And I want the same thing. I want to help increase the amount of on-scene accountability by good people, because the cops were getting there on that bus, like that's what we have to do. That's why I love your company name too, man. That's perfect. You mentioned children. What role would you say children can play in like a home security plan or a plan once things kick off?
Yeah, that's a great question. And either people ask almost right away when I go do home consultation, like, what do my kids do or whatever, or what do I do with my kids is what they normally say. Then instead of what the kids do, what do my kids? And my answer is always the same. If they're 8+, give them a job. Even if it's like, okay, you get your little brother and you guys go here in this room or whatever, like give them something. Because again, for the same reason, they can sit there gripped with fear, like and scream and cry and stuff, or they can feel like they're doing something that's helping, right? So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm going to get my little brother. We're going to go to the room and mom's going to be over there in that specific place where dad told us to go practice or whatever. The other, it doesn't matter who, mom or dad or whatever, but at least they have something to do. If they're older, they can do more. I mean, maybe they're on the phone. I mean, let's say like later teenagers, give them more jobs. You do more things. You know, you lock this door, you get this phone, you maybe say these words, train them on how to make the phone call so that the phone call doesn't turn into an incriminating phone call for you, which is a big deal. Also part of the things that we talk in classes, like what do you say? What do you not say? Even if you're not talking directly to law enforcement, it's probably being recorded by something, whether it's the cameras that you have around your house. There's a million ways for what you're saying to be recorded. And so like being really careful with the way you deliver commands behind a force multiplier, right? If you got a gun on you and you're saying X, Y, and Z, that could be a really bad thing, especially in California. So like what to say, when to say it, and teaching kids from, that early age that you can do something that helps this, or you can do something that takes us down. So do the right thing and let's practice it. Okay. So like my kids are still 5 and 6, but another year or two, they're probably going to start going to the range with me. They're probably going to start figuring out like, okay, they're already doing like self-defense classes, like martial arts classes at an early age. Awesome. So they can at least have the confidence of I'm doing something. They're not going to be able to like be effective, against like a bad dude necessarily at that age, but they can be effective in not making our situation worse by giving away our position and like crying or screaming or whatever, or pretty much naming everybody in the house. Let the attacker not know who's in and what he's in for. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that kind of thing. So the kids can do something. They can't do a lot to maybe effectively take down an opponent, but they can definitely help you not be in a worse position. And you should teach your kids those sort of things.
100%. No, I love that, man. Any ideas for keeping kids safe? Go ahead. You have something else?
I was going to say one more thing. One of the super common things is that kids, when they're scared, they often will go to their closets, right? Which is okay. It's like, they close the door, whatever. Unfortunately, and I've done a lot of home consultations. Unfortunately, closets are essentially like the closest thing to the hallway for most homes. So think about some of the homes you've been in, like you're going down the hallway, there's multiple bedrooms. Usually the closet is the thing that's the closest drywall to so it's usually the door and the closet, and the door in the closet, it's facing the hallway most of the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the houses are built that way for like sound, whatever, I don't know. Or because obviously the window is on the other side. So unfortunately though, if you're an armed home defender and somebody's also armed, and now we have that kind of thing going, you do not want your kids in the closet in the hallway.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because now you have drywall, and then very next thing is your child's head or whatever. Like, get the kids away from the hallway. So if you can't go get them for whatever reason, train them to be as far away from like the hallway as possible in better angles or better whatever. So that's one of the things that we always talk about, because it's super normal for a kid to go, I'm scared, and I'm just going to go to the closet. And maybe they're even taught wrongly that way. It's like, hey, go to your closet and close it so they can't find you. It's like, yeah, unless there's shooting going on in the hallway, in which case, do not be in. Anyway, so that's one of the things that
that's
that often comes up with kids.
I never really thought about that. No, that's good stuff. Any thoughts for keeping kids safe at school? Like, send them with stuff. What do you send them? Any ideas on that? Because I know.
Yeah, pray a lot.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, like I said, my girls already like do the self-defense stuff. I think they're in karate right now, whatever. And that gives them a little bit of confidence in being able to like just handle themselves a little bit better, whatever. But there's evil in this world, man. And sometimes you just can't do anything about it. If it were up to me, we'd have well-trained armed people at schools because we do that for our money. We do for our jewelry stores and whatever, but we don't do that for our kids.
Yeah.
It's like, it's mind-boggling. But again, I'm in the minority thinking that way.
Yeah.
How can my kid possibly stop like an armed person from doing like massive damage? I mean, that's just, I can pray a lot that we're spared that awful thing. I can maybe talk to them about, as they get older, finding better places to be, how to fight somebody that's coming through there, because my kids will also not be the helpless kids in the back, just frozen under their chair. Like that's going to help, So as they grow up, I can give them more information, but I mean, to give anybody like do this with your kids, that'll help at school. Man, pray a lot. That'll help your kids at school.
No, I love it. That's reality of the situation. I love it. That's good stuff, man. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. What would you, we're getting into the closing questions now, man, but I'm excited about this. I hope more people, take you up on these services. And one of the reasons I asked you that question about how much time does it take? How long does it take to set your house up? Mm-hmm. So I want people to realize, like, hey, so these are like little things that you're not doing that could cost you everything. They can get you picked for a home invasion. They can, get you picked for a situation that, the fallout, monetarily and so many different categories, even psychologically, and, with regard to the loss of life, can be so devastating. And it just, a little more attention to these things, these systems, the way you lock your house up, the way you arm your alarms, these little systems and lights and things like the bush placement and the way you enter and exit your home, they can save you so much, it just takes some attention and a little bit of an investment. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So many people to know, so that's good stuff. What would you say, favorite quote, mantra, saying?
I say this all the time in my classes, and I don't know if it's all me, because I don't reinvent anything. I'm always like, man, I probably heard it somewhere, or I combined it from two different people or whatever. But like, I always say violence is dangerous, so you should avoid it. But if you're gonna have to get violent, be really good at it.
Yeah.
So I talk about violence being violence can be good if that's the only way something's gonna get resolved. You better be darn good at it. Don't be so scared of violence that you can't be effective. But also, if you can avoid it, 100% you need to be avoiding violence, because it is a dangerous thing and you're not always going to win. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my mantra. It's like, work on good violence. Be a good violent person. Know when it is that you have to be violent. And if you have to be really good, be really effective. This is not a sport. You don't get a second round. You don't get to set up your hits. Like, I do the sparring, I do the stuff, man. It is not the same. If violence is required, be so good that you can't get it wrong. You know what I mean?
You stop the fight. You don't fight with someone. You stop the altercation. Yeah, man. I couldn't agree more. That's good stuff. And you have to be formidable. There's so much that's said of, I think I said this morning in a video, I was like, being a good person's not enough. You must be formidable. Otherwise, you're just a good victim.
True. Yeah.
Being a good person's not enough when it comes to this stuff, man. Is there a habit that you would suggest to folks that either makes them a better person or a better protector?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm relentless. Like I'm a finisher. I don't really start things and let them go. I've usually got a to-do list, and that to-do list gets formulated the day before, and I've got a priority list. I get up. I'm usually up early. If it's a habit that people should take, is there are enough hours in a day. You just need to want it more than the next person. Unfortunately, it's just easy to say, "Oh, I'm busy. I don't have time for that." It's like, yeah, man, that means you don't want it. That's 100%. Not that you're busy. You just don't want it. And so I am that kind of person that's just, I am going to peck at it until it's done, or I'm going to get it done as soon as possible. Like, that's just me. I don't let stuff fall. And so instead of doing more and be mediocre at a lot of things, do less things and be really good at them. I think that's something that's going away. It seems like, every kid is in every sport, every activity, everything. And they're just like mediocre at everything and are not experiencing excellence at anything.
Yeah.
Like let people be good at something, really good at something, So if that requires you to get up extra early or stay up extra late to get good at something, man, it is worth it in the long run.
Yes.
Just do it. All this I'll get to it. And people just don't finish anything anymore. It seems like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and grouchy, but.
No, I agree, man. I agree. They just don't have the wherewithal anymore, man. And it's like, geez, like I just had 2 conversations yesterday with some people about this. And I'm listening to all their reasons for not hitting the mark. And I'm like listening to them and I'm totally sympathetic because I love these people. But I'm just in my head, I'm like, you just have to get smarter. You have to get stronger and you have to try harder. Like, I wish I could say, implement the system. I wish I had a cheat code for you, but I'm listening to what you're saying. And I've had to do this 800 times because I started out really mediocre, dyslexic, fat, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting here before you and I'm like, I know it looks impossible and it's really hard. But the answer is you're just going to have to do it harder. And it's just it. And until you get to that serious.
And people always want it, right? They want the cheat code. They want the how do I do this fastest? And I'm like, look, my own defender is already giving you the blueprint sort of for the easiest way to do it. But you still have to do the stuff. You still have to put some time on the mat. You still have to dry fire. You still have to think about all those scenarios. So you still have to do work to be excellent at something, otherwise you're just kicking the tires. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I love that. How would you like to be remembered, Fabio? When it's all said and done.
That's tough. An empowering person. I like to encourage people. I want people, if anything, they remember that, man, that guy was not necessarily super positive. I am for the most part, but just encouraging, just get to the finish line, go do it, get after it. There is time for this. You just need to put in the time. The same things that we were talking 2 seconds ago, but I feel like if I can be an empowering person, I am helping you get to your potential, to your finish line. I hope that people remember that.
Are you sure you're not watching my content before this? That's my heart.
No doubt, I'm sure I do. Do you say that all the time?
No, that's just my heart. Yeah, that's what I'm all about, man. I'm just trying to help people see their greatness, because like I said, I started off really mediocre. Now I'm decent at some things, but I just know what people can be capable of if they just commit to a course of action or just commit to bringing the best out of themselves, And so it breaks my heart, man. And I'm the same way when I see somebody who's ignored or disrespected. I just want to put a smile on their face. I want them to see their value, the value I see in, So
I see you. Yeah, I like that.
I love that stuff, man. I love your message. I love what you're about, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we're connected.
Man, what a pleasure to talk with you.
No,
anytime.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thanks for joining us. And then, what are you up to these days, and where can people find you, man? What's the
I have my own defender on the socials, myown-defender.com. It's got, some information on there. I'll send you a link for the 6-month program, in case you want to share with somebody. And if you want to ever come, then you're 100% welcome. You'll be my guest. So if you want to come to classes, just hit me up. Just come hang out, shoot. Yeah, come hang out anytime. Great. Bring the wife. It'll be great. My wife will be there. She comes to every single training. At the beginning, it was kind of like, okay, I need you to come because if I'm not home, and I do some traveling. If I'm not home, you got to do stuff. Yeah. And now she's like, of course I'm coming because she likes it and she's good at it. And I usually have females in class. It's a pretty standard thing for me. I enjoy working with them. And I think the fact that my wife is there to support and help is really cool too. So bring her. It'll be great.
Outstanding, man. No, I love it. Good to go. Well, all right, Fabio. Thank you so much, brother. I look forward to training with you here soon, man.
Anytime. Just let me know.
All right, solid.
Boom. Yo, what up? I hope you guys really enjoyed that episode. Hey, listen, in order to get more out of the brand, I want to encourage you to go join us on our social media platforms and join us at protectornation.com. We post different types of content on our different platforms at different times. You'll get blog posts, you'll get videos, you'll get real world combat engagements and things like that. So stay plugged in order to get the most out of the brand. In order to support us, also go to protectornation.com and buy something, or join forces with me on Patreon. You'll scroll down the homepage and you'll see the link. Anything you can give counts. Think about whatever you would lose in your cushions or like spend on McDonald's this month, $5 a month, whatever it is. That helps us make the world a better place by making good people dangerous. Anyways, this is Byron Rodgers, protector by nature and by trade, and I'll see you on the next piece of content, whether it's a video or podcast. Out.